how many books have I read so far this year? I'm trying to do 2 a month. Hi, welcome back to Books Like Fun. I'm Bo, and let's talk about all the books I've read so far this year. The first book I finished this year is A Brighter Flame by Christine Nolfi. I started this around Mother's Day because I got the Mother's Day box from Once Upon a Book Club, and this was in it. I also bought my mom the box from Once Upon a Book Club. I was hoping we could read it together, but she finished hers way faster than I finished mine. So I started it in May, but I didn't finish it until the middle of January. It took me a while. Not because there's anything wrong with the book. I like the book. But stuff happened. I got busy and it took me a while to get back into it. So this book is about family drama. There's a woman who owns a bar with her dad and something happens and she has to go back to her hometown. She stays with her grandma. Is it her grandma? Yeah, her grandma. So she goes back to her hometown in Philadelphia to stay with her grandmother, and her sister is also there, and she doesn't have a great relationship with her sister, and her dad's name is Bo. That's my name. So it was interesting to read a book that had a character with the same name as me, because that never happens. It was really interesting to see my name in a book. And I liked this book. I rated it 3.5 stars. I have a little bookmark that I've been keeping track of how many books I've read this year. And I rated it 3.5 stars. There were parts that I didn't like, and I think the sisters didn't have great communication. We'll put that right there. The sisters didn't have great communication. I think a lot of stuff would have been cleared up if they just talked to each other. But I do like the side stories and the family drama. I kind of wish they went more into the family drama stuff. I don't think the dad, Bo, was in the story enough. I would have loved to know more about everything going on that side of the family. But overall, it was a really good book, and I rated it 3.5 stars. The second book I read this year is called The Christmas Witch by Dahlia Faulkner. I hope I said that right. And this was also a Once Upon a Book Club book, and it's a very special edition of this. Look at those corners. I love that. It's a hardback. Unfortunately, my 2-year-old got to it and ripped the cover. So if anyone has any suggestions on how to fix that, I don't really want to just tape it, but that's kind of what I think I might have to do. This is such a beautiful book, and I'm a little disappointed that my 2-year-old ripped the cover, but it happens, you know. The Christmas Witch is about a family who goes back to a town that the dad lived in. The dad died, so the mom and the little girl goes back to Amber Light Valley. And apparently this is a series. This is book 1. This feels very elementary, like an elementary age book or middle school type book. I enjoyed it. This book jumped around in point of view a lot, and I think I enjoyed the adult perspectives better than the little girl. I think she was like 12 or 13 or something. I don't know that I would have picked this book for myself if I had known what it was about, because it does seem better suited for quite a young audience. I got this in Once Upon a Book Club box, and I got the Christmas box for it, I think is what this was. Yeah. And I don't regret reading it. It was good. I rated it 3 stars. Maybe my younger daughter will enjoy it. I have a 2-year-old. I could read it to her. Maybe she'd like it. And maybe she'll want to read it when she's older. So that was the second book that I read. I read this one in from January, the middle of January to the beginning of February. So it took me a couple of weeks to read it because I have a job and a 2-year-old. So I don't read as much as I would like to. So it took me 2 weeks. The next book I read this year was My Roommate is a Vampire. I loved this book. It didn't take me long to read this at all. It took me 4 days to read this book. I loved it. It was a very quick read. I also got this book from Once Upon a Book Club. I always get their Halloween boxes, and there's always a sweet Halloween and a spooky Halloween, and I got both. So this was the sweet Halloween book. So we can put that right there. I rated this book 5 stars. I really liked this book, and I think maybe I should do a video where I look at reviews of that book to see if other people agreed with me, because I really liked it. I know some people are probably going to think it was cheesy or something, but I enjoyed it. Obviously, her roommate's a vampire. We know that from the title. That's not a spoiler from the very beginning that he's a vampire. And it's fun to see how they interact, and he doesn't know a whole lot, even though he's hundreds of years old. He doesn't know a whole lot because he was in some kind of coma. He was poisoned or something and was in some kind of coma for 100 years. So he just recently woke up and needed a roommate to help him navigate the modern world. And she's the one who responded to the ad. And I thought it was great. I loved their relationship. I loved how she tried to teach him different things. She was surprised about things that he didn't know, and she tried so hard to understand him. It was great. I loved that book. It was a fun read. So if you want a quick, fun read, My Roommate is a Vampire. It's a great one. So yeah, 5 stars. Took me 4 days to read that book. The next book I read this year also didn't take me very long to read. It was Hemlock Island by Kelly Armstrong. And this book took me about 9 days to read, and I rated it 4 stars. It was pretty good. I think I want to do a video of this where I look at different reviews, like 1-star reviews of that one too, because people might not agree with me, and that's fine. This also has family drama in it, and I really like the family drama stuff. I wish I knew more about this family. So Lainey and her ex-husband Kit owned an island. He bought her an island. He's a big tech guy, and he bought her own island and let her have it in the divorce. The divorce was pretty amicable, which is crazy. That never happens. But he let her have the island, and she's not rich. And to be able to afford to keep the island, she rents it out to different people, like an Airbnb kind of thing. And something happens. There's weird things going on. I mean, it's called Hemlock Island. How do you not know that weird things are going to happen when it's called Hemlock Island? But weird things happen. So Lainey and Kit and Lainey's niece, who she adopted, and Kit's sister, and a couple other people somehow make it over there. They all go to the island to investigate these weird things that are going on. So there's kind of like a supernatural element going on there, a mystery. People die. Some parts were confusing, and I wish I had a little bit more information about the backstories and the relationships and the family drama type stuff. I think some of the drama, family drama type stuff was glossed over and not explained well. I'm super nosy, so I like to know all the details. I like to know what's going on with the characters. I like to know their backstories and how they got to where they are, and I don't think that they went deep enough into those backstories. I think that's why I gave this 4 stars. I think if there was more to the backstories, it would have gotten a 5-star. But I really liked it. It was very enjoyable. If you like spooky stuff, read that. There are some pretty weird parts in there. I guess it's horror. The last book that I've read so far this year, I started it in February and I just finished it yesterday, and that's The Do-Over. I am gonna have a whole video talking about The Do-Over where I react to 1-star reviews of this book. And I rated this one 4 stars. I thought it was cute. There were some cringy parts. It's a young adult romance. I read some young adult sometimes because I'm a high school English teacher and I want to be able to recommend books to my students if they're interested. And I would recommend this one to my students if they wanted to read a teen romance. I would recommend this to my students. It's got a Groundhog Day thing going on, which I like. I like Groundhog Day kind of stories. So there we go. Our main character has to relive Valentine's Day over and over and over again until she learns something. They always have to learn something, right? But yeah, I would recommend that. 4 stars. So these are the books I've read so far this year. My goal is to read 2 books a month. I have not quite done that. I read 2 books in January, A Brighter Flame and The Christmas Witch. I read 2 books in February, My Roommate is a Vampire and Hemlock Island. And then I read 1 book so far in March, The Do-Over. Hopefully I can get another book read by the end of March. If I do, I will put something up here and let you know if I was able to do that or not. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because I really want to be able to read 2 books a month this year. That's my goal, because I haven't read as much as I would like to lately. And that's part of why I'm starting this channel. I really want to get back into reading and figure out what kind of books I like anymore. So it's a great start, I think. I know there's a lot of other booktubers out there who read way more books than I'm gonna be able to, and great for them. Maybe I'll listen to a couple audiobooks here and there too, but I really like to have the book and read it. And listening to books, sometimes I zone out and I don't want to miss the story. So most of my books will be physical books, and I have tons of books that I haven't read yet, so I'm gonna work my way through all the books on my shelf that I haven't read, and you guys can come along on this ride with me. If you are interested in seeing how many Stephen King books I own, click that link right there.